Welcome in, Braves Today. BravesToday.com is where you can find us. Jonny Venters joins us. I guess I could call it two-time Brave. You went to the Rays for a little bit, so we call it two-time Brave.
That's right. Yes, sir.
Before we get into this detail, I did have to ask you: are you still the only pitcher that's had 3 successful Tommy John surgeries that's actually played?
As far as I know, I mean, I know it's becoming, unfortunately, it's becoming more common. I know Jacob deGrom just had his second.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not aware of somebody that's had a third.
I Googled it and nothing came up, so I think you're still the guy.
Kind of a dubious honor, you know.
Baseball people love stats, but the fact that I Googled it and nothing came up, not even you came up, I'm like, nobody else cares about that but baseball people probably.
Right.
When I realized that, and I was like, God, I mean, when you went in for the third time, you probably had to be telling the doc, said, look, man, is this it? We good? Or
yeah, well, actually, I had a fourth one.
Goodness gracious.
I tore that third one, and the Dr. Elitrosh in LA, he did my second two. Dr. Andrews did my first two.
Mm-hmm.
Dr. Elitrosh wouldn't do a fourth Tommy John on me because they have to drill in the bone, and he was worried about the bone failing at that point. So he went in there and just kind of reattached it some way. I did some magic in there, and it's been good since. So I don't know if you call it 3.5 Tommy Johns. I don't know what you call it, but I had a fourth one to fix it, and it's been good ever since.
Wow. And of course, that's the part that kind of sucks. You being a pitcher, now you're running clubs and Legacy Sports Complex, and the good news is, as I say, two-time Brave. You must love Atlanta because you still got a business there, and you got a couple of new business partners, new location coming up. So, what is Legacy Sports Complex?
Man, it is a kind of a one-stop shop in terms of sports training and health and nutrition. Mm-hmm. I met Dustin Chovanec, who's this was his kind of brainchild, his idea, his model, and I just fell in love with it. The model is, we service kids from the age of 5 mm-hmm. all the way up, and it's not common to have that kind of young kid as well as Division I athlete training at the same time, or a professional athlete training at the same time as a 5-year-old's getting speed and agility, while their parents can be getting, physical therapy or medical care, nutrition, and or just training themselves. So the model was it blew my mind. It was fail-proof in my mind, just because it was such a need for that. Because I know personally, I used to drive an hour to train at a place where I could also do my physical therapy. And there's just a need for that combination of things, because so many athletes, they train and they're banged up, and whether you play football or soccer or whatever sport may be, we offer cheerleading, kind of every sport at every age, and every aspect in terms of strength, speed, sport specific, team training, individual training, the physical therapy. We have an orthopedic on board at our second location, and the nutrition. We're gonna have a cafe in our second one. It's just kind of a one-stop shop, man, that I felt like there was really a need for it at every age. And when you go in there on the evenings and you see a 5-6-year-old group of kids doing speed and agility, and then you got giant in Division I college football players in the weight room training, it's just an awesome atmosphere with awesome people. The guys we brought on, Muhammad Sanu, Christian Blake, Sean Witherspoon, and Elijah. It's just been an awesome experience, and it's just high character people with the vision of making an impact on the community from an early age on. Like, we want to see these kids start here at 5, 6, 7 and grow all the way through, whether it be, to play Division I sports or, just through high school. We want them to grow with legacy and spend their time there and be around people with high character and learn, how to be a good teammate, how to work hard, like life lessons.
Yeah.
While at the same time being able to accommodate higher end athletes and parents that maybe need some, physical therapy, or we have a doctor that does Botox and stuff like that for the moms. Just it's kind of a one-stop shop, man. It's a really cool model that I think is going to catch on. We're working on our second one opening here in the next month, and a third not long after that. And we really envision it being a national brand, because we do feel there's such a need for it, and the people we have on board are just such quality people in terms of character and work ethic, and the things that they believe in is what really drew me to it. We had a team meeting today, and I was, a lot of people that are involved in training, different sports, different things, they spoke, and I was inspired, man. I was inspired by their vision and their work ethic and the things they believe in. And, it's a special place, really is.
It gives you guys a chance to give back a little bit. I mean, the 5-year-old's probably not going to know who you are, but dad that's bringing him by may probably know who you are.
Right, sure.
Same thing with, you mentioned Sanu. I mean, if he's at one of the facilities that day, I mean, as one of the co-owners or one of the partners, and I mean, you got to imagine a kid's eyes light up. They may give a little extra effort than they do with, John Smith, their coach at high school, and so this gives them an opportunity to give a little more.
Yeah, Muhammad, he still looks like he should be out on the field on Sunday. Man, he looks like he should still be playing, and it's fun to watch him teach with the kids, especially because they're great at relating to the young ones and kind of explaining things to them so they'll understand it. But at the same time, they're getting training from an NFL, an NFL player. An ex-NFL player. So it's a cool experience for everybody.
The nutrition's become a big component too.
It's huge.
I mean, I know from a guy like me, that's something that I didn't really follow. I mean, in the 90s, early 2000s and that kind of stuff. But, then you hear about the Tom Brady's of the world that all of a sudden went nutrition and played till he was 41 years old and never had any major injuries whatsoever. And he claimed it was all due to nutrition and taking care of his body. So I think that's and it's cool that you got stuff that the parents can do too. So it's a membership driven thing. Did I see that?
It is. Yeah. A lot of it's membership driven. You sign up and you get, however long you want, in terms of a month or 2 months and a certain amount of sessions, and you use them, as you want. And, we want them in there as often as they want to be in there. You know what I mean? We want them to come in. We love seeing the kids and the parents, and we want it to be like a community place where, you walk in and everybody and it's friendly, but you come in there to get better. You're coming in there to work and improve at whatever it is you're doing. Like I said, we offer so many different sports in terms of wrestling, cheerleading, football, baseball, basketball. Our new one has a pickleball court. So it's and we have an outdoor turf space at both. And it's just a really cool atmosphere. It really is a special place.
Braves Today, bravestoday.com. All brought to you by Active Wealth Management. Be sure to give Ford a call today, or at least log on to his website, annuity360.net. Ford Stokes wanting to give every Braves fan a chance to get his book, Annuity 360, for absolutely free. Get a copy of a valuable resource without spending an absolute dime. All you got to do is go to annuity360.net, provide your contact info. Ford's going to send it your direction. By the way, Ford's registered investment advisor, Brookstone Capital Management, manages an impressive $8.5 billion in assets, the kind of experience that you want on your side. What's the big picture? I mean, you got the new place that's there too now. You got 2 locations. Right. You guys looking at adding more, or even expanding into other markets or anything?
Yeah, we have a third building. I'm not sure the exact closing date, but hopefully soon. That's in Alpharetta. So that will give us Suwanee. The second one's in Lawrenceville, and then Alpharetta, and then Dustin and Muhammad, they flew up to New Jersey to look at a piece of property up there near Rutgers. That's where Muhammad went to school. And he has some connections up there, and felt like there was a need for it there. And we really see it growing as a national thing. And, we've talked about Florida and Tennessee and certain places where we want to start out. But we really feel like it can grow into a national brand for, everyone, that everybody can kind of use and get better and be around quality people.
So Legacy Sports Complex, you guys look out for it. Got a couple of locations, third going to open. And, So
Yeah, check us out.
you have zero excuse because you just heard Johnny say that he, headed an hour when you were training, hour there, hour back.
I wish there was a legacy when I was playing. I really do, because it would have saved me a lot of time in the car, and in terms of the equipment and everything is top notch. It's it's first class everything, in terms of training and care and equipment, and it's a win-win for the community and for the kids and everybody involved. So it's a special place, and we'd love for you to come, anybody listening, to come check it out and see what you think, and it's open to all ages.
Awesome. All age groups. That's what it's funny, because I've seen you see all these social media posts, and you got these older people now are working out more than I do. I mean, they look 20, 30 years older than me and doing stuff that I can't do. So apparently it is for every.
Those guys are making me feel bad, man. They're in shape and they're on there grinding, and I still have this dad bod work, and I got to get in there and start training with those guys. But it's been an awesome experience so far.
That's awesome. Let's talk Braves a little bit. And this past year, really one of the best seasons I've ever seen. I mean, I know it was numbers wise, but this was a fun team to watch this past year.
Oh my goodness, it was. Every night it seemed like something exciting was going to happen, whether it was, Acuna stealing bases, hitting homers, or Matt Olson driving in runs and hitting homers. And it was a great team. I know they didn't end the way they wanted to. But that's the way it goes. But it was, like you said, a historical season for them. And I love Brian Snitker, and I still have some friends on that team, and they were they were fun to watch. Man, I turned them on, and it seemed like something exciting happened every night.
Well, that was one of my questions is with Snit, didn't know your relationship with him or how that was or how you felt about him. I mean, he's up for manager of the year. They haven't named one yet. And, but he seems to be a guy that, I don't know that you call him a player skipper, but everybody seems to love, like, you never hear a bad word about it. You hear some of the fans, that come chirping, and they, they'll say stuff like, I hadn't won the big one, or they won one big one, and he did that without Acuna that year, by the way.
Right. Yeah. It's kind of like my rookie year, I got to play, it was Bobby Cox's last year. It's kind of the same thing. You only heard good things about him, right? In terms of a player. And what blew my mind was it was so true. Like, he was everything I heard. All the good things I heard were true. And it is the same way. When I first came up, he was a third base coach for that team. And then when I got traded back to the Braves in 2018, he was a skipper, and he's awesome. He's like a father figure. I played with his son in the minor leagues when I was rehabbing Troy, who's now the hitting coach for the Astros. And they're just a wonderful family, and he's a player's manager, man. He's there for you. He supports you, and he's kind of a calm voice. If there is, a storm, that he kind of can get you back to being right. So I have so much respect for him as a manager and what he's done, and he's so deserving of that. Having, I don't know how many years it is now with that organization, 50 years or however long he's been with the Braves. And he's deserved everything he's gotten, and then I couldn't be happier for him and his family.
It took some getting used to it as a fan. He was in the dugout a lot more than Bobby Cox was when he took over. And that takes some, because now there's some frustrating times where I go, come on, Snit, get out there and get tossed. But you definitely know that he's in the right if he's sitting in the clubhouse after a discussion with an umpire.
Absolutely.
Whereas Bobby didn't really pick and choose his battles like he probably should have.
Well, it's different times now. You see less of that now than you did back in Bobby's heyday. But if Snit runs out there, he's out there to support his guys, and he's in the right.
Yeah,
99% of the time. I was there when Acuna got hit in that Marlins thing, and you could tell that he went out there as a father figure, looking out for his guys, and as a player, you just love that. You love to have a manager that has your back no matter what, and he's that guy.
How would you love to have the year that he had? How would you love to have Acuna out and right when you're on the mound, and you turn around and see a guy that's a human highlight every time around?
Oh my gosh! I got to play with him. He was young. I think he might have been his rookie year or second year, and the talent is just It's undeniable. Like I got to play with him and Soto when they were both very young, and the talent level with both of them was off the charts. And Acuna plays hard every day. He comes to play. I know he had some hiccups early on where he hit a ball that he thought was a homer and not run it out, and Snit kind of got him dialed in from that. But his talent is generational. It doesn't come around often. To do what he did this year in terms of the homers and the stolen bases it's never been done before,
No.
in the history of the game. So to have a guy like that out there is it's as a fan, I'm a fan,
Right.
it's exciting to watch. You never know what he's going to do. And it makes it fun.
I mean, is there any doubt he was the MVP this year?
No, not in my mind. No,
I mean, even Bet said that. He got caught on camera saying that. And so
you saw his year. I mean, he had an incredible year,
Mhm.
but just the things historically that Acuna accomplished that had never been done, and the game's been around for 100 years,
Mm.
So I don't think there's any doubt that he should be the MVP.
I mentioned Betts. I'm going to transition to Freeman a little bit.
My man.
Yeah. and I mean, he leaves. A lot of Braves meltdown. Olson comes in.
Yeah.
He's in the MVP race.
Yeah.
How in the world did Alex Anthopoulos find this guy to? I don't want to say fill the shoes because I don't want to be that guy that says that, but because you're talking about two different players, and definitely it looks like two different personalities.
Sure.
But if he continues to have the numbers that he's having, I mean, trust me, Freddie will always be a Brave and will always be missed.
I'm with you on that. Like I was sad when he left just because the times of like the Chipper Jones that spend their entire career with one team is kind of gone away.
Mhm.
And Freddie went through the bad times into the good, and to see him leave was sad for me. But like you said, Alex Anthopoulos nailed it in terms of signing Matt Olson. We have the same agent, and he's a high character guy, and he's going to bring it every day and put together quality at bats and play a solid first base. Like you said, I'm not going to say he's going to replace Freddie Freeman just because Freddie Freeman's a special talent, as is Matt Olson. Two different players, but in terms of filling those shoes, I think they did it as best they could have. You know what I mean?
I completely agree.
Matt Olson.
I think I completely agree. Go to pitching a little bit. This past year, we'll talk about highs and lows. Start with the highs. Spencer Strider just came out of nowhere, it seems like. And I mean, he's a special cat. I mean, a guy that's throwing you're 8 innings in, he's still hitting up at 99, 98 miles an hour.
Just swing and miss stuff, man. Just does not get barreled up often. Misses bats. And at first I was one of those, being a starter with two pitches is not an easy thing to do. And to see what he's been able to do with his stuff and his God-given ability to miss bats he's fun to watch, man. He's fun to watch. And I got to come up through the system with Charlie Morton years ago. And so I'm a big fan of his and Max Fried I got to play with. And I hope Mike Soroka can come back and be what he was, because he was a special individual and talent. And I hope he can come back and kind of be what he was as is with Kyle Wright. Two high character guys that work their tails off, and I hope they both come back and have the success that they deserve.
You mentioned Morton and coming up with him. I mean, they exercise that option. They're going to be able to keep him. I mean, you're talking about a guy that's 40 years old, be 41 before the season's over with next year, and he still looks. I mean, he was the number 2 this year. I mean, before injury. So
he's a player, man.
That's a special thing.
Special thing. I'll never forget. We were in low A together, and I sat behind one of his bullpens, and I was like, I might not be able to play this game because his stuff was so good. And I was like, he had it all. He had the breaking ball, the changeup, the sinker. He wasn't throwing. I mean, he wasn't throwing as hard as he is now back then, but he really, really figured it out, and I couldn't be happier for him. He's a great guy.
They say he's a different dude.
He is, but in a good way. He's kind-hearted, soft-spoken, and I took my boys to a game at Truist, and he was pitching, and he took the time to come in the clubhouse and say hey to us, and he was at my wedding, so he he holds a special place in my heart, and couldn't be happier for what he's done, especially the last 7-8 years of his career has been special.
Again, Jonny Venters, as that's part 1 of 2, all brought to you by Active Wealth Management. Be sure to go to annuity360.net for that free book from Ford. Stay with us as we will have part 2 of 2 that will be coming up next to talk about the current team, as well as still relive some of those glory days with the former Atlanta reliever, Jonny Venters.